Imagine being a mum with a young son suffering a terrible genetic condition, watching him grow weaker every day, knowing that condition will eventually take his life. Now imagine finding a treatment, asking for government help to get it, only to be told it's not an effective use of public money. Welcome to the world of Stephanie and her little boy, Hunter.
Every day, Hunter Beath wakes up weaker. He has lots of toys because he can't play outside.
We didn't get to see him ride a bike or run with friends or go on the playground. We still dress him, we feed him, we bathe him.
Stephanie McGlone cares for her 6-year-old son like a newborn.
How do you tell your son that you're not going to walk anymore or you're not going to be able to do things anymore? We go to these doctor's appointments and he always says to me, "Gee, I hope I get better." And I have to sit there and I know that he won't. He'll get worse.
Hunter was born immobile.
If he couldn't walk, couldn't talk, couldn't get up.
A year ago, he stood up on his own for the first time. And every little thing Hunter's achieved since will eventually be taken from him. It's the cruel reality every boy born with Duchenne muscular dystrophy faces.
Nobody wants to see their son knowingly go through this and have their body betray their mind.
Duchenne is a rare genetic disorder that usually appears in young boys between ages 2 and 5. Without the protein dystrophin, their muscles slowly deteriorate, leaving them unable to use their arms or legs, and eventually makes breathing hard. Teenagers end up in wheelchairs and young men have their lives cut short.
The muscles in his body, they get so overtired, he's exhausted 24/7.
There's no cure and it can't be prevented. Duchenne is normally inherited, but for Hunter, it was a new mutation in the gene.
So 1 in 3 kids are just born with a spontaneous change in the gene.
There's nothing that mums-to-be can do to prevent this condition. It is just, unfortunately, bad luck.
Paediatric neurologist at the Royal Children's Hospital, Dr. Ian Woodcock, says for every 5,000 babies born in Australia, 1 will grow up to have Duchenne.
We would probably be diagnosing a new child every month.
All right, do you want to hold on to the rope?
Hunter's been going to physiotherapy in Melbourne since he was 8 months old.
And he really didn't look like the normal presentation that we would characteristically see in Duchenne boys.
Hunter's physio, Miff Adkin, currently treats 5 boys with Duchenne in Melbourne's southeast. Hunter does equine therapy, hydrotherapy and occupational therapy. Just writing his own name can be a painful task. Stephanie noticed something wasn't right when he struggled to move his neck at 3 months old.
He was onset from birth, so that's not typically something that's seen.
Stephanie battled for 5 years to get answers.
You lose a part of yourself when you get that diagnosis. It's like the light at the end of the tunnel is just taken away.
There's multiple points of grief that the families go through.
Claire Bailey's already lived through so much of that grief, watching her son Logan slowly lose his ability to move.
We were told that he would stop walking when he was 10, lose his ability to use his arms by his mid-teens, and life expectancy was late teens, early 20s. So Logan's now 22. He stopped walking when he was 14.
Logan's life with his family in Perth is centred around 24-hour care. It's a future Stephanie is desperately trying to delay.
At the moment, we're lucky that he can still small enough to use mobility scooters. As he gets older, we'll need a hoist and we'll need the wheelchair accessible car.
But what Stephanie says she really needs is a gene therapy Australians can't access.
It's a microdystrophin, so it gives him the small amount of the chemical that's missing from his system.
What would this drug mean for you and Hunter?
It isn't a cure, but it will help us preserve what he has, and what he has is so minimal already that we don't have time to spare to lose more.
Currently, the only treatment options available to Duchenne patients in Australia are clinical trials or steroids. And the steroids come with shocking side effects. Hunter's been the same weight for 3 years. He's grown just a centimetre this year.
So either we don't put him on the steroids and maybe he'll grow, he won't have the rage side effects, but then he won't move, he'll lose his ability to walk even earlier.
Stephanie wrote to the Australian government for help to get to a hospital in the US that agreed to treat Hunter with the multi-million-dollar one-off gene therapy, but was declined.
There wasn't an ethical, effective, efficient use of public funds. It wasn't aligned with the Commonwealth policy, and that was a really hard pill to swallow. We drive down the highway and see a sculpture and I just feel so angry that we've put resources into that and we don't have any options for these kids.
Most people have never heard of this condition, and it's the biggest genetic killer of boys. So we've got a lot of work to do in the advocacy space.
Claire co-founded Duchenne Australia to do something about the lack of options.
I would like to think within the next 2 years that there is a therapy available within Australia that's going to change the lives of these young boys living with Duchenne.
Feels like we're stuck and no one's coming to save us and no one's coming to save our son.
The federal government tells us it is aware of Hunter's case and encourages Hunter's clinician to seek a review of the decision to not send him to the US for treatment. The family says it's tried once already for a review and they will try their luck again. And your heart just goes out to them. We wish Hunter and Stephanie all the very best.